So amazingly, the high yields seem to be back. What is going on, everyone? Welcome back to the Baking Analyst channel. And today we're going to be talking about how much you actually need invested in DeFi and crypto in order to achieve a range of various goals. So we'll be going at this in an increasing order of difficulty and figuring out whether or not you are in a good position to do this based on some net worth to investment metrics. So let's jump right into today's video. First of all, let's talk about how we are actually going to generate this yield. And that is not through inflationary tokenomics, that is through real yield protocols. And believe it or not, some of them are actually paying close to 100% in APR based on trading fees alone. We are specifically excluding things like reward APR, such as this native token, AEDE, or MadMax MMF, because we're assuming those to become worthless over time. And the reason for that is because, once again, of high inflation and the likelihood that an influx of users may not be able to keep up with that for an infinite range of projects. This first scenario is also the easiest scenario we'll be looking at, and that is if you want to make use of crypto and DeFi to fund a lifestyle. So that could be things like going on holiday once a month or doing something of that sort. Let's say you need about $800 every single month. Well, how much do you need invested into these DeFi protocols, which, by the way, should be considered as a very high risk investment? First of all, let's have a look at the APRs. I've tabulated these APRs to this week's figures on 6 different real yield protocols across Arbitrum, Polygon, Binance, you name it. You have your average APR, which is just the average, and you have the base, which I am taking it more conservatively, dividing this average by 2. So if you wanted $800 a month, you would need about 21K invested across these various protocols. You could lower that by investing, say, more in something like Eldorado or MadMax that's more aggressive, but nonetheless, $21,000 is where you are at, or 42 if you want to be more conservative and have the net worth to do that. Now, this is a new thing that I've just introduced to this video, which is this net worth number, which actually takes this number multiplied by 10. The reason for that is because too many people are taking these numbers at face value and then invest too large a percentage of their overall net worth. So here I'm taking that you are all here as degens. On one hand, I'm assuming that a 10% haircut to your overall net worth is not going to be catastrophic, but on the other hand, you do want that kind of exposure in order for you to get those degen gains numbers. So looking at this 21,000, you will need about 200K overall net worth. Maybe it's cash in the bank and stuff like that. So that is definitely quite a respectable amount. You could make this more aggressive, of course. If you only invested 10K, you will only need 100K. Let's say put 10K in Eldorado. Maybe that is something that you think is suitable for you. So that was the first scenario. Let's have a look at the second scenario, which is if you want to get yourself a 10 to 20% pay increase on your salary using this method and beat inflation. And looking at this, we are supposing that the average US salary is $54,000 a year. So let's take a 20% increment on that, because I'm pretty sure, depending on where you live, that number is going to be quite a bit higher. Let's say close to 100K. Let's take a 20% on that. So 54,000 times 20% divided by 12, you get $900 a month of extra income. Now let's round it up to 1,000, and we see very clearly that if you just wanted to increase your salary by 10 to 20%, assuming how much you made, this is before taxes, of course, you probably need about closer to 25 to 30,000 in one of these farms. That will correspond to a conservative net worth of $260 to $270,000. So once again, you still do need that foundational net worth in order to invest that amount without too adverse consequences to yourself if it were to go bad. With regards to the question on how safe these protocols are treated as a high-risk investment, again, I do not represent any of these protocols, so I'm not here to tell you whether they are safe or not. However, smart contract risk is definitely a thing. The third scenario that you want to look at is the retire on crypto scenario, which we talked about in our previous video. And that, again, depends on where you go to live. And looking at this, if you were to choose a low cost of living country, let's say Thailand, Bangkok, for instance, and we assume that you somehow want to spend the amount that a 4-person family spends, maybe just on yourself or maybe 2 people, doesn't matter, we're just going to take this number, 1,867 pounds, so probably around $2,000 US a month. And that will give you numbers of $53,000 invested in these farms. Again, you can make it more aggressive by changing the amount. But as you see, the net worth number does go up quite significantly. You will need to have quite a much larger foundation as compared to the previous 2 cases if you want to try to retire on crypto, even in a lower cost of living country. And trying to move that to a higher cost of living country, for instance, Dubai, where so many crypto millionaires are staying, well, that number is going to be even higher. You'll probably want to double that amount, 3,500. You'll almost need to be an actual millionaire to be able to do that in a relatively non-adverse way. A so that you are always protected in any case. Finally, let's say you are a whale and want to just retire and ball out in a relatively high cost of living country, $10,000 a month from crypto alone, maybe of some side investments, and that will actually require to have $250,000 in one of these high risk investments. So once again, not for those with a small account size. Now, all in all, this video aims to be a realistic take on how much you actually need invested in crypto in order to achieve various lifestyle choices. And once again, we emphasize the points on how much you actually need in net worth in order to be able to afford this type of investment without too adverse an impact on yourself. Once again, this is not financial advice, but if you want to get $20 or £20 of free crypto, you can try out the Uphold card that's linked down in the description. Once you trade $250 or pounds worth of crypto, you will get that bonus. And if you get the card, you will also be able to get 4% cash back. Now, let's say you have looked at this situation and decided that you want to try to go for one of the higher amounts. You want to try to retire on crypto. Well, we have an exact run through of how I am actually trying to do this, and that video is right up here. Check that out. And with that being said, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.